Hi guys, so in this video, I'm gonna share with you how you can launch an instance in AWS, which is related to the previous video that I've published. Since I'm going to use this kind of instance at the moment, might as well share it with you so that you can also use this on your own when you're managing um, your online business or so. This will be the task will be launching a remote server or what do you call this? A remote computer, which is a virtual one. So let's say a cloud computer. Let's say um, you want to use a different computer on the cloud. So, for example, this is my the one that you can see now is I am browsing using my local laptop, which is Windows OS. Okay, so let's say I want to test something which I don't want to use my local laptop because um, I want to secure my local working user machine or my local machine or my unit. Okay, so um, there's a lot of scenario. There's a lot of reasons why you want to do this. One of that, one of those is to secure your local computer. So let's say if you want to test, as mentioned earlier, if you want to test an app, you want to install something. So if you don't want to risk your computer with virus or whatsoever, you want to test out, you want to launch a cloud remote instance so that you can test it out through that cloud computer, that remote desktop, instead within your local desktop. Okay, so another reason um, um, I'm gonna share with you my use case is that let's say I want to secure my server. Let's say if I'm managing a server for a client or whatsoever, um, if I want to only secure the login within a specific IP, so that's one of the use case that I do on my own business. Um, with my own business. Let's say, for example, if I have a cPanel server and I don't want anyone or any IP to log in from, I mean, to the WHM admin. So to make to there's a way you can actually restrict logging in only specific IP. So to do that, since my ISP, my computer internet provider, don't provide a static IP as a residential user, although I believe they can provide me if I request, but I expect that it would be pretty much what they call this expensive on my part. So instead, I use a cloud server or within within AWS, which is using the free tier um, service. So I'm gonna launch an RDP or a remote desktop so that I can use that IP to log in into my secure into my WHM and only let that IP log in and deny any other IP. Okay, since AWS offers you to set up an elastic IP, which means a dedicated IP, then you can actually use that also for that case. You can also use this RDP or remote desktop for that case. Another thing is, let's say there's a website, especially um, it's just what do you call this? Let's say, for example, my previous bad experience with PayPal. Okay, so I do have a PayPal. Um, I believe last year or last 2 years ago. Um, I had my personal PayPal account and also a company account, but that's not a business account. It's only individual, and it it was banned by PayPal because they decided to use a machine instead of using human verifier. So last 2001, I believe, or 2020, I'm not really sure though. Um, PayPal decided to use machine or technology to verify the authenticity of anyone that logs in within different IPs. So let's say if you log in within the day using three different IPs, they will block your account or ban your account without any prior notice, without any asking for verification. They just let the machine, um, what do you call this, decide if you, if you're, if they're going to ban you. So that's what happened to me and most of the users. I believe if you search on YouTube or Google, you should be able to see, especially that year, they have banned a lot of accounts due to that decision of using technology so that they can pay cheaper service, I believe, or instead of paying people uh, as their manpower, they probably decided to just use machines so that they can have a discount on paying employees. And anyway, so um, again, you can use a dedicated remote desktop so that instead of using your local IP, which when you which is usually when you restart your router, you will you will probably um get another IP because most of the I'm not sure for other countries though, but here in the Philippines, in my country, I have the our ISP or our IP, the residential IP is dynamic. So whenever the router is rebooted or restarted, it will change the IP of our internet. So um, even if we don't intend to change it, let's say for a day or for a day we log in with different IPs on PayPal, then you will probably get um, banned, and that is actually not cool. Okay, especially when you have funds in it, like mine before. But enough of that. So that's actually it. That's actually one of the a few cases that you can use remote desktop for. Um, so that you can just use one IP each time you log into, let's say, PayPal or to your server. You can you can restrict one IP only, and also what else? What else do you? So I believe that's it because that's what I use it for sometimes. So um, probably I'll just share it with you if I can remember the other use case of um this service. So enough of the talk. So we can start launching up the that remote desktop that I'm talking about. So the first thing you want to do is to, of course, log in. I'm assuming you already have an AWS account. So the first thing is when you log in, just probably search if you cannot see this here or in services, you can go to compute, and if you cannot see this here, the EC2, you can also search it here. Okay, let's say EC2, say EC2. Okay, so just click this one here, or maybe you can go to the instances. And then you can select the nearest location or region in your location. So I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use London. So by the way, guys, I'm launching a London instance because I'm gonna log in into my business PayPal, which is registered in the UK. So that is why I am launching this. So that's also one of the use case as mentioned earlier. So here, so you can use any other OS that you're familiar with, but I'll just use Windows for mine. So make sure that it's free tier eligible if you want to use it for free. And then also this, and I'm gonna create a new keep here, UK, and then create, then I'm gonna save it somewhere in your local computer. And then make sure this is allowed here and it's in it and it's anywhere. So once done, then we can launch this, and let's wait for the instance to run, and also the status check to validate. So just hit this refresh here to make sure that you can check this out if it's already it's already completed. The check is already completed. It should show something like a check done something, or check do something whatsoever. So just frequently refresh this every, or up to 4 minutes, I believe. You can wait for 4 minutes and then come back to it and then refresh it. So as mentioned earlier, guys, I want to talk moreover about that. So let's say, for example, um, if you have a PayPal, especially the new members, you don't want to use or to log in or register in your, if you're new and you want to create a new PayPal account, I really suggest you use what do you call this, AWS um, remote desktop, because the reason being is, as mentioned earlier, that they are using machines for their platform security. And most one of the problem that it is causing the users, especially the new ones, is that even if you're legit, but in a day you're logging into your PayPal account with different IPs, um, they will really ban your account without without any without any chance to. There's a potential, actually. Probably they will ask you to verify or so, but in my experience with my other friends that are working online, since that since 2001, or I believe 2020, since they decided to use the machine, or um, their program the program that they're using currently, since then PayPal is no longer um, recommended. Especially when you ask me, I don't really recommend PayPal anymore. Probably you can use Wise or else Pioneer. Um, if you're from the Philippines, you can ask your client if they're using PayPal and they want to pay PayPal, I mean via their PayPal account, they want to pay you, um, make them pay you in Zoom.com. Okay? You provide them with your bank account, local bank account, and then they can log in with their PayPal on Zoom.com. It's a website, xoom.com. They can easily log in their PayPal without any other setup, I believe. I'm not really sure. I haven't yet checked that site anymore, but to my experience before, they can just log in, and since the Zoom.com is a PayPal's service as well. You can just log in there and then pay your employee. So if you're an employee from the Philippines or any other supported countries in Zoom.com, so you can use it so that your client with a PayPal account, which they want to use their PayPal money, you can ask them to send over via Zoom. I believe the fees are the same because they are partners with PayPal.com. So you can use that if they want to pay you with PayPal. But if you receive using your own PayPal account, I would really recommend you use a static IP when you're logging in. And also, every time you log in, every time you pay for something using your PayPal account, make sure to use a static IP up until maybe 1 year or so. Never ever use any other IP. Or maybe if you don't want to actually go through this, like using a cloud service, then you can probably use your phone, your mobile data, not a Wi-Fi, okay? Your own mobile data, your own make sure you reload your data, your SIM card if you're using a SIM card. Um, but here in the Philippines, we are using SIM card and you can enable your mobile data. And since when you enable your mobile data, I believe in each device we only have one IP. I'm not sure, but if you're using um, specific what do you call this, ISP or network provider, so I believe PayPal will be able to know that, and whenever you use that network, even if you restart your device, it will not change the IP. So that is also an option for you if you don't want to go through this cloud service thing. You can just use your phone, but make sure you don't use Wi-Fi because it will be a different IP, and PayPal might see you as something, or it might trigger their security system, which potentially may PayPal may ban your account. So that's it. So enough of the talk. So let's proceed. So now the status check is has passed, so we can already launch this. So first, we can you can you can do this. Check this one, select the instance, and then go to connect, and then go to RDP and download the remote desktop file here. Okay, so make sure you know where you have saved this one. And now we can just get the password of our RDP. Then browse your .pem or your key pair earlier if you can remember where you have saved it. And once you have uploaded it here, um, press on the script password, and here is your password. So just copy that one and then open up the RDP file which we have recently downloaded. it's it's a different file to your keep here. So paste the password that we have copied here and just select remember me, also this one, so that whenever you click on the RDP file, it will automatically open. You don't have to paste the password each time. So this is what I will do for my let's say if I have a server to manage, which I have restricted in one IP only. So when you have when you're in the case, I mean, if your case is that, then you can use this IP4 to restrict into your server. Um, you restrict this, and this will be the only IP that can log in to your server. Okay. So if you're not, your case is with logging into like a financial account, let's say PayPal, as I've mentioned earlier, that case, if your scenario is that, then the same thing, you can you should be what do you call this? You should be good to go. You can start to register here and just use this remote desktop until when it would last. So um, just make sure not to stop this instance, this one, or terminate it. Because if you do that, it will change the IP. Okay, it will change the IP, and you will no longer be able to access your server if it's if you're using a different IP. So make sure if you need to stop or terminate the instance, make sure to open up the restriction or disable the restriction in your server. And for example, if you're using this scenario, if your scenario is logging into PayPal, I'm sure it if you will need to actually use a different IP, you should be safe if you're only changing IPs like probably once a month or 3 to 6 months. I'm sure it should be fine. But um, this is just in case you want to make sure that you don't um, get banned by that issue, because there's a lot of people that were banned with that issue. And I don't know why people do that, but it's their business, so we can't really do anything about it. So that's it. So once we're logged in, so you can do anything in this really. I mean, you can do whatever you want from here. You can install anything with it for Windows. This is Windows. Uh, I believe we have launched a Windows OS, and then that's it. So as you can see, this is something like just a new computer. So you can use this, and that's it. So thank you for watching. See you next video. See you in the next video.